What's up, y'all? It's Project Photography back with another video, and today we have another incredible POV landscape photography video. But today is a little bit special because we're not just shooting in the California area. We are in Mount Rainier. And as you can see, there's a very large mountain over there, and I'm so incredibly excited to shoot here. But I am with my family, so it's not gonna be like your traditional like POV stuff where I kind of explain stuff as I'm going along. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys some of the footage that I captured of me actually going ahead and shooting, and some B-roll along the way. So I'm incredibly excited, and I think we're gonna get some really good photos. So yeah, let's jump right in and cut right to the B-roll. So we're now behind the scenes, behind the camera, and instead of really diving in and talking about what I'm doing per specific shot, I really want to just talk about my trip overall here at Mount Rainier. And so this trip was for me and my family to go on and explore the national park and so forth. And this was definitely an interesting area because the area that we're by is actually by the Mount Rainier glacier, and it is very large, and there was a lot of people, so this was definitely something I had to work towards a lot. And as you can see right here, there are people that are climbing up, and this is an issue I kind of had to deal with majority of the time. And as you guys know, we are not about photographing people. This is a landscape photography channel, so for me, I really want to make sure that we just got out as many people as possible and really showcase the natural beauty of the landscape itself. And for me, when I'm actually photographing these places, you have to keep in mind that this isn't nearly the time of the day that I want to shoot at, because obviously I would love to shoot at sunset, sunrise. But of course, we're still getting decent lighting actually, because the lighting is quite soft here. We have some nice clouds that are acting as a almost diffuser like, and the lighting is not too harsh, which is actually really good. But because I'm here with my family, I don't necessarily have the sort of leisure and flexibility that I'd normally like to have on a landscape shoot. I mean, obviously I kind of have to like move along here. I'm not getting a ton of opportunities to take the exact image that I want, but we are of course doing what we can with the situation. And right here, I'm shooting a panorama, so I'm moving left to right. I'm getting pretty tight in the image itself because I want to make sure that, of course, we don't want to have the people in the foreground. And I just like this mountain range as a whole. I mean, this is absolutely gorgeous. And one thing that I kind of found is as I was moving closer to the top of the hiking trail that I wanted to be at, we were getting a much better view of these mountains. And for me, that was kind of the exact goal that I wanted. And there are definitely a lot of aspects about these mountains that I really enjoyed. First of all, I really like these kind of like valleys and these different peaks that were definitely showcased in the mountain range. But because we were so high up, we actually got to see a lot of the Mount Rainier National Park itself. I mean, there's just so much here that I think is an absolute beauty to photograph. Something else that I really wanted to note is that this hike was incredibly strenuous. I mean, it was only a 4-mile hike, 4.5-mile hike round trip, but I was carrying about 25 to 30 pounds on me with my Shimoda Action X30, and I had 2 camera bodies and my tripod. And so I feel like this isn't something I necessarily talk about a lot, but if you're gonna be a landscape photographer, these are very common hikes, and it was all uphill, especially in the first half of the hike. Well, something else I really wanna note here is you can see these kind of mountain goats right here, and they are honestly really nice to photograph because I just felt like, you know, incorporating the wildlife into the photography itself has been something that I've wanted to be keen on. And I think with this, you know, we're able to incorporate the mountain goats with the actual mountain range in the background. I think it just comes out for a really nice image here. But I was kind of saying before, I mean, you really have to be in shape to be a landscape photographer. I mean, you're not carrying, you know, 5 pounds on your back. You're carrying like close to 20 pounds and you're hiking up incredibly strenuous hikes. So that's definitely something you have to keep in mind when doing these hikes. Make sure that you're in pretty decent shape, because if you're not, it's gonna be really, really difficult to get the exact shots you want, and you're gonna be really gassed by the end of it. It's really not gonna be that enjoyable. Right here, this is close to like the peak of the mountain itself, and I think there's these really nice ravines and valleys. And one thing that's really interesting is that there is snow here. I mean, as you can see, obviously there's been snow this entire time, but this was photographed literally a couple weeks ago. And I mean, snow in June is pretty incredible. As you guys know, I'm from Southern California, so this is absolutely not something we see all the time. But it was really weird because it was like 50 degrees or 55 degrees, and it was still a lot of snow, which is kind of wild to me, but it's definitely an interesting experience. So I switching out cameras a lot here. And for me, the telephoto lens was a lens that I used a lot during this trip. Mainly because there's a lot of stuff far away that I feel like was really nice to capture, and that's where the 24 to 200 really came in handy. I didn't really go to 200 a lot during the shoot. I was mainly staying between, I want to say like the 50 to 150 range. Especially in that panorama, I was probably around 150, give or take. But this shot right here is actually one of my favorite shots of the day. As you can see, there's a mountain in the background, but there's also a mountain in the foreground, and it creates this really nice sense of separation in the image. And I really love that peak in the back, and I don't know, it just created a really nice photo. And that's something it was kind of difficult to see, but as I was able to photograph it, it came out actually very nice. Overall, I actually really enjoyed this shoot a lot. I mean, for me, I feel like a big problem in my landscape photography is that I've had a really difficult time finding unique places that have been inspiring. Mainly because, you know, when you shot at a lot of locations in Southern California, they can be a little bit repetitive, and it's not like going 50 miles down the coast is going to get you a drastically different view. And that's why I really enjoy shooting here at Mount Rainier. I mean, it's not every day that you get to shoot in a mountain range this gorgeous with so much snow and just a very unique sort of atmosphere. And the reason I'm putting on this ND filter here is because I wanted to see what we can do with some of the shutter speed stuff with getting a nice view of these clouds here, but I just don't think they were moving fast enough for me to actually do anything with it. I cleaned that ventilating pretty nice in my opinion, but yeah, and I was going back to saying, like, that's the thing about going to these national parks is I feel like they're all so unique. I mean, a Mount Rainier is not going to be nearly as close to like the Hawaii of volcanoes or even some like Yosemite, and I think that's where, for me, exploring the national parks is something that I really want to go out and do more of, because I just feel like they're so unique. You get so many different looks, so many different opportunities to actually capture amazing images. And by the way, here I'm shooting at HDR, where we shoot at 5 different exposures, combine them in post to get infinite dynamic range essentially. But as I was saying before, like, going on these trips really help to, create a sense of, how do I put this? Like more inspiration in my work, because I just kind of felt like I was not necessarily losing it, but I just felt uninspired by the areas I was shooting at. But then you kind of realize, like, once you come to these beautiful places and shoot at these areas that are really beautiful, right? Like you kind of get that inspiration back in your landscape photography. And so we're kind of nearing the end of the shoot here. Actually, we are nearing the end of it. And these are the 3 images that I really thought were my best work. I mean, I love this panorama right here. I mean, we get that beautiful sense of compression because we're shooting a panorama, but also that left to right. We're able to cut out a lot of that dead space, and that deviates from the main subject matter that is the mountain range in the background. And then my second favorite image is these mountain goats. I mean, it's just, like, I don't take photos like these because I just feel like there's no opportunities to do so in my local areas of Southern California. So when I'm coming here, this was something that I thought was really a nice shot to take. And of course, this peak back here with the sort of mountain range in the foreground was absolutely stunning. Let me know what was your guys' favorite image.
1, 2, 3.
But yeah, that is essentially the end of this video.
Very good.
And I got a special for you guys, photographed with my parents. So yeah, that's the final image. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for experiencing the world with me today. Please feel free to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, it kind of.
That's one in the video. That was a good photo. Damn right it is. I took it. Okay.